Journal entry, SSG Kilo Team audio log. Date, 14 November 2032. They used to call this place God's country. Now it's just contested ground. Snow's coming early again. It's quiet out, but the quiet is deceiving. Even in the cold, danger still lurks around every corner. Soteria Security Group continues to run operations along the Eastern Line, working in lockstep with the local Wisconsin recon cells. Farmers, hunters, former deputies, all of us wearing different patches, but fighting the same fight. The Michigan militia from the UP have been making bolder moves, probing routes, hitting supply caches, testing our perimeter like wolves that finally got brave enough to circle the light. They want our water, our food, our soil, and they're done pretending otherwise. But there's something else now. Encrypted traffic on the radio, uniforms that don't belong, tactics we haven't seen before. A unit that no one can confirm, but there's still rumors. They're calling them ASOG, highly trained, surgical, ghost-level presence. They're there, and then they're not. Some say they're tied to an old network, the Longhouse Preparedness, distant remnants of the old world. We don't know if they're friend, enemy, or the thing that hunts both. All I know is this: Wisconsin doesn't fall quietly, and we're not done yet. We still got heart, and we're gonna push him back into the cold waters of the Great Lakes if it's the last thing we do.
Good afternoon and welcome to Soteria. Today we're going to be taking a look at my plate carrier. We're going to be talking about why I have it set up the way I do as a civilian. We're going to be talking about what kind of gear and mission that the civilian Minuteman has, reviewing some pouches and some different kit, as well as pointing out some of the pitfalls and some of the bad advice that I think you see a lot. This video is going to have two parts. The first part's going to be we're going to go over my plate carrier and kind of some of the different kit that I carry with me. And the second part, we're going to talk a little bit more of theory and some different problems, some different things that I think you should avoid, okay? By the way, I hope you enjoyed that fun little cinematic intro. We do wish no ill will against anyone from Michigan. We love people from Michigan. We just love people from Wisconsin a little bit more. As far as the Longhouse Preparedness Group, some of my friends actually have hung out with them, done training with them, and know them quite well. So there's a link there, and it's just all in good fun. You should definitely follow the Longhouse Preparedness on Instagram and YouTube. They put out some good knowledge over there. Hi, do you have friends? Yeah? No? Well, I've got just the thing for you. You see, a few years ago, I got tired of all the tactical gray man t-shirts that, you and I might think is cool, but the second you put it on, you stand out like a sore thumb. And I thought to myself, what if there were tactical gun guy t-shirt designs that were subtle enough where certain guys might understand and recognize, would help you make friends, but wouldn't make everyone instantly think that you were carrying a gun? So I embarked on the journey to make them myself, and now you too can get these designs subtle enough not to tip off the average person, but with designs that guys who know, they'll recognize it. Now you can finally make friends while you're waiting for your wife in Target. And for a limited time till the end of the year, I'm offering 15% off on every order. So use code HOLIDAY25 at checkout. If you want to check out the designs and support the channel, click the link below or go to totallynottactical.com. All right, let's get into my plate carrier, and I can kind of give you my opinion on some of the different things I've purchased and the good, the bad, the ugly. Now, the plate carrier itself is a Whiskey 24 PC24. You don't hear about this one too often. You hear people recommending Cry JPC, Cry SPC. You hear people recommending Faro Concepts and Spiritus. Those are all great options. This is just another option that is a competitor to them that you probably don't hear about very often. It's at a similar price point to most structural plate carriers on the market, and the one benefit is it's made to order and they have a lot of camo pattern options. This is my second plate carrier. My first plate carrier was a Ranger Green Faro Concepts Slickster, which is a great plate carrier for what it's for, which is for very low vis, very slick, not putting much weight on it, not carrying a full combat load. So I had that plate carrier for a little bit because I thought that was what I wanted, what I needed. And it turns out that I ended up needing to use it more for an overt stuff and to load it down with a lot of mags and medical and comms and all this stuff. And it wasn't really suited for that. So if you're looking at something that's more low vis, just bear in mind that it's not going to carry the heavy stuff very well. So then I started doing some research into different plate carriers that have structural cover cummerbunds. Now, a structural cummerbund holds the weight very well. Usually there's plastic or Tegaris or Kydex or something in here to keep it very stiff so that it can support the weight, and there's not very much sag. It kind of distributes the weight and the load around your entire body instead of just putting all the weight just on the shoulder straps. The other thing that I needed to do was get better shoulder straps. I had the Ferro shoulder socks, and those ones are very thin. They're more for concealability and being very slim. They're not really gonna hold weight very well. And after just 30 minutes to an hour of wearing that plate carrier, my shoulders would get very sore. So I did a lot of research and I finally settled on this Whiskey 2.4. I was tempted by the Cry SPC, but I got this because they have multicam Tropic. And I like to be different. I didn't want to run a multicam plate carrier like everyone, so I decided to get Tropic. Because Tropic is kind of like the new God's Plat. All right, so my requirements were that it had to be able to carry the weight very well, had a stiff cummerbund, but also not just a stiff cummerbund that wasn't adjustable. This one has elastic in the back also, so that when you breathe, it'll stretch and breathe with you. So it's stiff while still being breathable, which is nice if in the winter you want to put on extra layers. It kind of can size up a little bit with you without having to adjust or take everything apart. This plate carrier is also very similar to the Ferro Concepts FCPC with the cummerbund and just kind of how it works. It's a very similar plate carrier, but it's going to be a little bit more budget friendly. All right, so for a front placard, I have the Spiritus Mark V. And I had this one previously on my previous plate carrier and I loved it, so I got another one. I have the Spiritus CCS pouch, which is mollied onto the front, which I can put all my land nav equipment in. So I have 3 mags here up front of the placard. I have 2 more mags here on the side, and then I have 2 more emergency mags here in the back. So I have a total of 7 mags plus 1 in the rifle, which I think is a really good spot to be at. If contact is likely and you could be getting into a gunfight, the minimum is definitely 6 plus 1 in the gun. That's a very commonly said number. Everybody recommends it. The military does that. Usually 7 mags is a combat load. Any less than that and you are running the risk of running out of ammo after just 1 or 2 or 3, 4 or 5 minutes of a gunfight, okay? And you might think, well, I'm a civilian. All I'm gonna do is nice little reconnaissance sniper missions from really far away, but you don't get to pick where contact happens. You don't necessarily get to pick when you get jumped or ambushed, so you should carry an appropriate amount of ammunition, especially because you probably don't have anyone resupplying you, although we should try to figure that out because logistics are important. On the side here of my placard, I have 2 tourniquets, 1 on each side. Those are held by shock cords. I can pull them out very easily. I need to go up to 4 tourniquets. I'm just kind of contemplating where to put them. So here in the front CCS pouch, I have my land nav equipment and some odds and ends. So here in the main pouch, I have American flags, very bright American flags. Now, the purpose of these is I can slap these on if I'm going to be in an urban environment, someplace where I think that maybe I might encounter law enforcement or I just want to look like the good guy. Because a very sad way to die would be to get shot in the back by another well-meaning person. That's the last thing we want. I have 2 map protractors in some different scales. I usually carry a map of whatever AO that I'm in. I have a Write in the Rain notebook with some different notes about patrolling, and I use this for salute reports and stuff like that. I also carry a pencil and a Sharpie. That gives me some writing options. I carry a microfiber towel for cleaning off lenses and optics. I've got a little red light, and this is tethered to my pouch. So I've got electrical tape over it also. If it accidentally gets activated inside my pouch, it doesn't like glow a lot. In the front pouch here, I have my compass. This is a Lensatic compass. This is military issue, and it is tritium, so you can see it very well in the night. I also have a shock cord here with a few things tethered on. The first thing is a whistle. This can be used for signaling, shift fire, lift fire, different things like that. You know, you can have different standard operating procedures for that. And this here is a paint can opener. This can be useful in a hectic situation. If you get a stuck casing, you can lock the bolt to the rear and pop this in there, and usually you can wedge out your stuck casing. So it's a handy thing to have, and it's on a shock cord, so I can stretch it out and get it to my rifle and let go of it, and it's gonna dangle. I'll always have it with me. I've got a carabiner right here with my shooting gloves tethered to it, so that if I pick up my plate carrier and I need to go somewhere, I always have my shooting gloves. These are the Outdoor Research Iron Sight gloves. I highly recommend these gloves. These are the best gloves that I have ever tried. They have a perfect balance of dexterity, but also protection. So they don't wear too fast, but you also don't really feel like you're wearing a lot of bulky material on your fingers. Something like mechanic's gloves can feel a little bit thick and can be a little annoying to shoot like a handgun for, in my experience. And for the Preparedness Mark V placard and the CCS pouch, I highly recommend that you get these. I think they're a great option if you're looking for something with a lot of storage up front, and 3 mags that can be swapped out for 7.62 mags, subgun mags, anything like that. Now these pouches are getting a little expensive. Preparedness keeps raising their prices. Every time you look at the website, the prices go up. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not gonna say buy them at full price. I bought most of these pouches used. I got really lucky and I found people who were selling them in the exact pattern I wanted, and I got a great deal on them. You can also get knockoff Preparedness pouches on Amazon, and I have some of those, and some of those are awesome. They hold up well. A lot of them don't even glow under night vision, so that's amazing. For these mag pouches, I have Templar's gear. These are dual mag pouches, and they're just like every other dual mag pouch out there. It doesn't really matter which one you get. They're pretty much all the same. These ones are pretty nice though, because they do have the bungee, so you can kind of cinch them up if you only have one mag in there or whatever, so something doesn't rattle around. This here is my radio and a radio pouch. The radio itself is a Baofeng DM32. This radio can do dual band and analog, and it's a very good value. It's $60. It's weatherproof. It can pull GPS coordinates for you, so it does a lot of amazing things. I still have not tapped into all the features. I have a lot to learn about this thing, but I highly recommend picking up a DM32, Baofeng DM32. I really think 60 bucks, one and done, that's the radio that you should get. That's just what I'm gonna recommend. The pouch that it's in is a Bees Combat Systems Baofeng pouch, and it's very nice because the way it works is you rip it open and it flips down. And it's facing you so that you can see the screen, you can type in channels and stuff like that, adjust the volume, and you can operate it very easily from it still being attached to you and tethered to your plate carrier or your chest rig or however you have it set up. This pouch is not meant for the DM32, it's meant for the regular Baofengs, but there's a little piece of Cordura that is at the bottom, and I snipped that, and then I put my DM32 in there, and then I put a zip tie around it. So it's in there, it's not going anywhere, and I can still run my old Baofeng in there. It's just literally a scissor snip, and yeah, that's funny. We won't keep going. I have this PTT that I got from Amazon. It's like 12 bucks, and the quality's decent. It's held up pretty well, but I'm probably going to upgrade to Comtex in the future so I have better quality of radio transmissions closer to my mouth with the boom mic. I also modified this shoulder strap to have a first spear tube. Now, as this plate carrier comes, it doesn't actually have first spear tubes compatibility up here, but there's an additional thing you can buy. I think it's like 80 bucks or something, but basically he sells it to you and you can convert it. I thought I could already just run the tubes without any adapters. I did not realize that. When I realized that, I decided against spending the 80 bucks on there, and I just cut it and sewed it on myself. So I have some nylon webbing and some good quality thread, and I just kind of sewed this on here myself. So I have an easy, quick way to get out of the plate carrier, because I don't know, I just cannot stand lifting that thing over my head every single time. It's so annoying. It's way nicer just to slide it off your shoulders after a long ruck or something like that. Right here, I have pace beads. Now, I think everyone should have pace beads. If you don't know your pace count, and if you don't have pace beads, and you don't have land nav equipment and a good compass and a protractor, you're wrong, okay? I don't care if you do urban operations. I don't care if you live in the city. You should still know how to do land nav, and you should still have the equipment. This is so cheap to make. You can just get some paracord, 550 cord, and some beads at Walmart. It's like $5, and you can make a whole bunch of these, okay? So everyone, you should have two, okay? This is my recommendation. You should have two. You should have one on your kit, whether it's in front of your chest rig, so you can pull the beads and you can count them out as you walk and you pace, and then an extra one in your pack, because if this thing gets lost and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you have no cell service and your GPS isn't working, you need to be able to count your pace and know how far you went, okay? People get lost. The most experienced people, the most experienced outdoors people get lost every year and die and freeze or fall off a cliff or get eaten by a mountain lion, whatever it is, okay? People make mistakes, and that is why you need to have redundancy and you need to practice these skills, because you cannot rely on technology, okay? Don't rely on technology. You need to have backup skills. And you know the old adage, which is 2 is 1, 1 is none, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it before, but have 2 of these. Have 2 compasses, okay? I have my compass and I have an extra compass in my pack. If this one's dummy corded to me, but if it somehow snags and gets cut or falls or gets smashed or whatever, which it probably won't because they're basically indestructible, but I have an extra compass, okay? Or I can give it to a buddy. I have an extra pace count. I have an extra protractor. I have an extra map, okay? You need to have this stuff. It's important, okay? I know it's not like, you know, oh, what optics setup, or, you know, oh, what color camo pattern and all the fun stuff, but this is important. This is the stuff that will matter. This is life and death. Back here are my emergency mags. I have 2 more 30 rounders back here. And this is also another Templar's Gear double magazine pouch. This here is a Spiritus small GP pouch. It's basically identical to every single GP pouch that you have, but they're one of the only people that make it in Tropic. So what do I have in this general purpose pouch? Well, initially I bought it so I could carry a couple smoke grenades, but I still haven't gotten around to buying the stinking smoke grenades. So right now I have a mask. I've got a Leatherman for different stuff. I don't carry a fixed blade in my kit, so I carry a Leatherman because I'm more likely to need multi-tool instead of an actual blade. I usually carry a Cliff Bar, some raisins or something just for a quick hit of sugar. And then I've got my face camo paint. I need to upgrade this though and get a better one. I also carry a pen and spare batteries for my headset or my weapon light. And I also have a couple chem lights for identification and stuff based off of my guys' standard operating procedures. So I got a red and a green. All right, and then lastly, down here in front is a dangler, which is serving as my IFAK. Now, I like an IFAK dangler down here in front. I can just see what's going on. I can get stuff out of it. I don't have to rip out something and just dump it all over the ground. But this dangler pouch is from Bees Combat Systems, and it's basically identical to like the Pharaoh mini dangler. And there's knockoffs of these pouches on Amazon that are also amazing. I have them myself, so just get whatever your budget allows. In the IFAK, I have pretty standard stuff. I've got a couple chest seals. I've got hemostatic gauze, shears, regular gauze. All of this stuff is from North American Research, or NAR, and that's where I recommend you get all of your medical stuff. Don't mess with Chinese stuff. Don't mess with Temu. Don't buy medical stuff on Amazon. Only buy stuff from North American Rescue's website or something like Medical Gear Outfitters or Skinny Medic. All of that stuff. Get it on an actual medical website that is not fishy, because this stuff is life-saving. If anything matters that you get the real deal and not something cheap or the budget option, it's medical stuff, okay? You can order this stuff out of your FSA or your HSA, which is what I did actually at a previous job. I maxed out my L savings account and bought a whole bunch of medical stuff. So that is what you want to do. You want to get North American Rescue. This here is a Celox hemostatic granule injector. So it kind of like you stick it in the bullet wound and you just kind of inject all the granules into the wound to try to stop a very heavy bleed. That is the only thing that I carry that's like not standard, but everything else in here, if you watch any IFAK video on YouTube, pretty much it's going to be exactly the same. And that's really how your IFAK should be set up. It shouldn't be anything fancy or cool or whatever. Just be whatever is recommended by these Army medics and these different people. Just do it exactly how they do it and don't worry about it. Don't second guess it. And get training, okay? I've been to a few medical classes. I don't know as much as I want to, but I feel like I have at least some of the mental preparation to be able to apply some of these different items. The other thing I'll say too is the ammo that I carry. Because I have an 11.5, I need some ammo that will help me really be effective out to 300 meters or so. And so I have this Barnes 70 grain TSX. And from what I've seen, this stuff does very well. It carries velocity well, and it's a lot more devastating at lower velocities than, say, your 62 grain green tip. I would not recommend you use 55 grain for self-defense or anything like this. So do your research, make sure that you select the right ammo for your intended purpose and your barrel length. So if you're gonna be running like an SPR build or something, you're probably gonna be wanting 77 grain open tip match. That's very accurate. Green tip is only like a 2 MOA ammo, which is fine for combat stuff out of a 14.5-inch barrel. But if you want better accuracy for precision shots, make sure you get something for that. For me, I wanted something that was pretty barrier blind, something that carried velocity well out of a shorter barrel, and something that would do a lot of damage even at lower velocities, so that I can be effective with my AR at the different ranges that I expect to have to deal with. One more thing with my comms, I've got this antenna relocation cable that I got from Amazon, and it works fine. And that is basically rerouting my antenna to the back so that I don't have an antenna sticking up right here. My antenna I have zip tied and duct taped or whatever here to the back. So it kind of sits next to my pack, and I've got some Velcro around it. So the nice thing is can be quickly extended to really get me a lot better range. I've tested it out, and it can kind of, I don't know if it doubles the range, but it certainly adds a lot more to it. So I can pull the Velcro and extend this up and get a lot better range. These shoulder pads are from Axle Advanced, and I believe that they are about $80, so they're very pricey, but I still recommend that you get them. I have been so impressed with these things. I used to get the most crazy aches and pains at my back, traps, and shoulders from patrolling all day or whatever. After I got these things, it legitimately feels like the weight is like half of what it actually is. So these things are very stiff. They've got good padding, and they just do an amazing job of just making that weight feel a lot more comfortable on your shoulders. And now I do have level 4 plates, so this is a heavy setup, but the real thing is that once you have your pack over the shoulder straps of your plate carrier, that's where the weight really starts to sink in to your shoulders and back. And that's where you can start to get a lot of aches and pains, is when you have your pack on over your plate carrier. So I highly recommend the Axle shoulder pads. There's a couple more out there I think that are pretty good. I think the Shock Concepts ones are also pretty good. Those are also pretty expensive, but really you get what you pay for when it comes to this. So. All right, and now we are to the theory portion of the video. Why did I call this a realistic civilian plate carrier setup? Now, I mentioned a little bit before about how I kind of went down the trend of being in this weird in-between place where you're not covert low-vis with clothing over your body armor, but you're also not fully infantry plate carrier, full load bearing, full combat load, everything you need, land nav equipment, all this stuff, okay? So there's been this trend for the last, say, 5 years or so of these guys with their Minuteman plate carrier setups. Well, I'm a civilian, so I don't need all the crazy combat equipment. And they're in this weird spot in between where they're not carrying as much stuff that an actual soldier would carry, but they also are carrying too much to even be concealable, okay? And so this trend is stupid. Don't fall for the trend, okay? Either say, I am in a city and I want to be completely covered in low vis and stick to my handgun or a PDW and soft armor or a slick carrier that is closed off and your IFAK is in a fanny pack or something like that. Or if you are going to do actual combat operations and patrols and you actually might have to get in a gunfight sometime and you're building your AR out for, hey, I might have to actually shoot a lot of ammo at certain distances, or you have body armor plates in the first place, right? The whole concept of armor is that you think you might be getting shot at, so you're gonna have to shoot back. So carry enough ammo to sustain yourself. Carry enough ammo so that you can actually break contact and get out of that firefight. If you watch any combat videos or even training videos with blinks and look at how quickly people run through their ammo, it's crazy. And now, of course, you have to be disciplined about that. But you go through your mags a lot faster than you think. I've talked to a lot of guys and they always say 3 mags isn't enough, 4 mags isn't enough. And if you're ever in a firefight, you're gonna get through your 6 mags pretty quick, okay? So don't be that guy who has 2 mags, who has 3 mags, who has even 4 mags. You should have 6 or more mags, I think, somewhere around there. You know, I'm not gonna fight you if you have 5. It's like, man up, carry the weight, okay? Carry what you need. So either go full covert or go full overt, okay? And that is what I did. I realized, hey, I am out here, I'm walking in the woods with my buddies. We are doing react to contact drills, we're bounding. I need to carry my radio. I need to carry land navigation equipment so I don't get my friends lost, okay? So, man up. Actually look at what real soldiers carry, and I'm not talking some DevGru CAG SEAL who's in a training shoot house and he only has 2 mags because he knows he's gonna go through and clear these rooms, he's only gonna have to fire 5 shots. That's not what we're talking about, okay? You know what I'm talking about. Watch combat footage. Watch real Marines, real Army infantry guys break down their plate carriers and read documentation. More importantly, talk to vets, talk to people. Also, probably don't base your kit off of law enforcement. If a SWAT team shows up, it's usually like 8 guys versus 1 shooter. And so they might fire 5 rounds between all of them, okay? So make sure that you do the research, make sure that you're getting your information from the right sources. And most of all, don't just do something because a YouTuber told you to do it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit of something from my experience and some of the different things that I've had to go through, some of the things I've had to buy and resell. Have a good week, and don't forget that Christ is King. He loves you. Now get out there and train.